Welcome back. Stay with me as we expand our knowledge with videos from all over the internet that's going to make us question everything. Let's just start.
The moon is an artificial, hollow, inorganic soul trap machine that is also used as a colonization base for ETs, as well as a transmitter of Saturn's negative frequencies to trap humanity in a fear-based state of consciousness. Zulu legends describe the moon, which they believed was hollow, as being built, quote, far, far away, and rolled into its current place hundreds of generations ago by the gods. Montauk whistleblower Stuart Swerdlow further corroborates these theories, claiming that the moon was pulled into space long ago by demonic ETs, which they used as a base to colonize Lemuria long ago, before they moved into the inner earth. Max Spears also described the moon as a hollow Death Star spaceship that harvests souls at the time of death, further stating that the white light seen at the point of death is really a trap that lures people to an advanced machine on the moon that harvests souls, wipes their memory, and forcibly reincarnates them in another physical body on Earth with no recollection of their past lives. Max Spears died mysteriously not long after publicizing this. The Chani Project also corroborated Spears' claim that the moon amplifies negative energies from Saturn and Orion to manipulate the human perception of time, as well as to keep humans in a low vibrational state of perceptual fear. It is stated that if the moon were to disappear, a quote, big calm would wash over the earth, as fears and anxieties would be massively reduced. Telepathic and interdimensional communication would become widespread, and people would even see new colors. Follow me for more hidden knowledge.
Jesus put you in isolation and made you sit down and study human nature and how these shape-shifting demonic narcissists act in this world before he gave you the blessing, the big blessing and the wealth. See, what God did was isolate you. However, you thought it was a punishment. You know, he took away your car. He made your car get hit. He made you lose the claim. He made all these courts come at you, these police come at you for no reason. You know, it's just for some crazy, you know, it just, however, you thought it was crazy. You thought this was, you feel me? You thought, you know, this was bad. However, that conviction was a blessing. The conviction was a blessing because God told you, or he told himself that I'm not going to let this guy or girl obtain this wealth without learning how these demonic narcissists operate in this world. See, because they are shape-shifting, crazy-ass narcissists and people that you're inevitably gonna run into that have the spirit of delusion, that take heavy drugs, that lost their soul, and you're about to come in contact with them when you get up there. Wait, you know, it costs to be the boss. You think God gonna give you $1 billion, bro? You a target. You a target. Get $5 million. Oh, you a target. That's why have you seen the movie The Lottery Ticket? Everyone was going crazy after he got the lottery ticket, right? And everyone found out, oh, it was beef. It was beef. It was beef off rip. There was nothing, like, that's what I'm saying. Because these demonic narcissists die for money. This whole life is of money. So what demonic narcissists do, they don't have no spiritual ranking. They have nothing in the spirit, so they don't know how to look inward and, you know, hope and dream and have faith like you do. All they know is money. So once they see someone else that has money, oh yeah, they're manipulative. You know, glasses come on. They're freaking dilapidation ass, crazy ass glasses come on. And they try to do all this charming shit. However, God wants you to see through these toxic people, because back then you had a glimpse of your success. You had a glimpse of what God was going to give you, the life you were going to live, you feel me, before you hit the age of 30 or whatever. You had a glimpse of that. And God gave you that glimpse, and he made you lose it so you can see how you got to move. Because you not moving with no strategy is the reason why you got in that situation before. However, God put you in isolation, and all those videos that popped up of like all the knowledge and shit, God was looking out for you, because God was like, we need to teach this guy human nature. We have to teach this girl how to obtain this wealth. So these demonic narcissists can't mentally operate within your psyche. Think about it, bro. When you don't know what a toxic person is doing, that's the power they have over you. But once you shut down the toxic person for who he is, oh, you neutralize their power. It's quick. It's they out. You neutralize their power. You neutralize it. You feel me? And then they just go ignore you. They go avoid you. They go run away. You feel me? They go run away because, you know, once you take a demonic narcissist to the spirit realm, oh, it's bad. They can't beat you there. They can beat you there physically, probably, or mentally, or no, not mentally. They can beat you there physically. You know, they can try to do the most. They can try to, they can try to beat you there physically, trying to put you in a cell for 4 days for no reason. They can try to do that to you. However, they cannot beat you spiritually because you have God, because you pray. So God will cast out the demons that are fighting against you. You know what I'm saying? So don't worry about that. Don't worry about, you feel me, about what they're doing. You feel me? Because once you take them to the spirit realm and you don't react to their BS, you don't get emotional, you see through what they're doing, you play the game back at them, they're out of power. You know what I'm saying? Because their power is getting you to react. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. Their power, demonic narcissist power, is getting you to react. Don't let them see you sweat. Them seeing you sweat, oh yeah, they're gonna have a field day with you because you sweating over the nonsense they doing. You feel me? That's what it is. So once you know how to not react to these toxic demonic narcissists and shun them. I had a lot of demonic narcissists in my life, bro, and they not coming back in my life ever. You feel me? They're not. You feel me? I understand who they are. I see through them. And then once I see through them, then they run away. They hide. They try to go work their ass off for me to go and look at them. I don't care. I don't care what you're doing. You feel me? You think I'm coming back and I'm gonna come back and be like, yeah, bro. No, I'm not coming back. I'm done with your goofy ass. He or she, we done with your goofy ass. Stupid. Like, go to church. You feel me? Go do the spiritual work. Take a year off and do spiritual work, and then come back to me, and then we can probably talk. Because I hear it in your voice. I hear it in what you say. You know, I was just a little riled up. You feel me? I had to tell y'all this message. However, God is protecting you, bro. God is protecting you. So keep praying. Keep that faith. Stay on the devil's neck. You feel me? Stay on the devil's neck, bro. Stay on his neck. You know, all these temptations start popping up as soon as you get closer to God. It always happens. You know exactly what this is. You know exactly what the demon's doing. So don't give into it. Stop putting so much emotion into this. Every time you're feeling a lot of grandiosity, a lot of chaos, stop. You got to take yourself back and stop. And you got to start looking at things for what it is. You start looking at life for what it is. You feel me? Stuff is not as good as people project. Imagine, like, just know that. You think you're missing out on something. You think you're missing out on this, missing out on that. You're leading into a trap. You see all these people on Instagram. You see them doing something that you want to do or something that you think you should be doing. However, it's nothing like that, bro. It's nothing like that. You feel me? They have their own problems. They have their own things they deal with. They're thinking about other people the way you're thinking about other people. So calm it down. Learn how to understand and see through the bullshit people do. You thinking someone's a god? Oh, if it's not you and God, then it's nothing, bro. I don't care who the person is, what he got, what money, what he has. If it's not you and God, if it's not between you and God, if it's not you, if you're not getting the answers from God, oh, it's out. Let it go. Let it all go. You feel me? Let it all go. You feel me? So, I love you. It's your boy Choked With Us. Damn, there's people outside, their gang stalking me. But yeah, I'm gonna do more of these videos. I'm gonna post this on the gram. Cause, you feel me? I gotta get on the gram with this shit. Because, you know, they trying to silence me everywhere. However, I love you guys. Your boy Choked With Thoughts. Make sure you guys join the Overcoming Demons class. Join the Overcoming Demons class. We doing it. It's lit. Chineke brand. I'm not gonna tag a product on this because I just had to speak. However, but I love y'all. I know.
Well, guys, it's happening way earlier than we expected, as AI is now taking over delivery services, specifically Amazon delivery services. We thought would be in 2075 is happening in 2025. Reportedly, Amazon is developing a robot that will be able to deliver door to door, just like the delivery drivers at Amazon. They'll be able to deliver door to door, just like this robot, while also driving an electric vehicle. An AI vehicle. And walk up steps. They'll do it efficiently. We have officially entered into a Black Mirror type world. And I know we've been there, but This right here is insane. And then let's not think about all the jobs that are going to be lost after this becomes a success. I say this all the time, but technology is one of those things that once you figure it out, it becomes easy. Meaning once they get the formula, now it's time to mass produce. Once they get the formula for this to work, it's not going to take dozens of years for them to pull it out. It's going to take literally a year or two. That's the scariest part about technology. Remember in the book of Daniel, chapter 12, verse 4. Now remember when God was speaking in the book of Daniel in chapter 12, verse 4, he said, "But for you, Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even until the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge will be increased." We are seeing knowledge increased on a different level. But here's the thing. Once it increases, that's why it pushes it forward. How long it took to get to the first electric car? And then now look how many is on the road. That's what I'm saying. Once they get the formula, it's OD, it's over with. This is scary times. And I'm telling you, AI is they're about to take over. Remember, Elon Musk said by 2040, which is only 15 years from now, robots are going to outnumber humans on the earth. Not in the United States, but in the world.
Woman's boyfriend is an alien flying away. Door cam proof.
Now, there's been a lot of talk in the last couple of days about an appearance of Elon Musk at the recent UFC event in New York, where he entered the building alongside Donald Trump and was wearing a rather strange symbol around his neck, with some on the internet speculating what exactly does this strange symbol mean. Now, this video is not meant to make any direct accusations against anyone, but rather to discuss false philosophies and beliefs which have the danger of deceiving many well-meaning people and even some Christians. Now, I'm not a prophet, I'm not a pastor, I'm just simply here as a Christian journalist making a commentary on social trajectories and agendas. And as the Bible says, to cast down imaginations and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God. Now, this symbol is rather strange, I think you'll agree. It's not a symbol that you see very often being worn around someone's neck. It consists of the all-seeing eye, which you might recognize, and the Omega symbol. That horseshoe-type shape is actually the Omega symbol. So what is Omega? Omega is the last letter of the Greek alphabet, which has caused some people online in the media to speculate about whether this is a reference to the end or to the great end, which the symbol can sometimes be known for because it's that last letter of the Greek alphabet. And for example, you may know that Jesus is referred to as the Alpha and the Omega, which is the first and last letter of the Greek alphabet. So the Omega symbol is a reference to the end, or the last. Now, funnily enough, that also links to X. How do you get from the last letter of the Greek alphabet, which is Omega, to X, to the term X? Well, the last letter of the ancient Hebrew alphabet is X. It's an X symbol. It's Tav. So that Omega symbol being worn in that necklace is essentially, if you transfer it to ancient Hebrew, is actually X, which is kind of ironic. They're both the last letters of those ancient alphabets. So that is also linked to X, as in the last letter. So the Omega and the X. But I'm going to touch more on that in a moment, and you may be quite surprised at some of these concerning ideas and philosophies that appear to be behind some of these elements. But let's look at the symbol as a whole for a second. The symbol in this necklace, very similar to what is called the Omega point. As you'll see here, here's some examples with the Omega symbol and with the eye, the pyramid, and those things together. Now, what is the Omega point symbol? What does that symbolize? If you've never heard of that before, please listen to this, because this will reveal to you some of the concerning things behind this false philosophy, which is represented by the Omega point, and in my eyes directly relates to the ideas being put forward by Elon Musk. Now, if you've never heard of it before, the Omega point theory was coined by a Jesuit. Surprise, surprise. Jesuit order, secret society that was set up to oppose the Protestant Reformation, so it's very anti-gospel and in those ways anti-Christ, and Pope Francis is the first Jesuit Pope. But if you've ever seen my videos before, you may have heard me mention this guy, as he was dubbed the father of transhumanism. His name was Teilhard de Chardin, and he also coined the Omega point theory, represented by this type of symbol. And his philosophies appear to be very influential on the agendas that we see unfolding in this world today. The idea that mankind could reach a so-called next stage in human evolution, which of course is quite central to the doctrine of transhumanism, of reaching that next stage of human evolution. So he believed in that, and also he taught the singularity of mankind reaching this point in human history, now through technology. This is the belief system that he coined, and he was influential in what we see seemingly the same ideas in what some of Elon Musk's companies are putting forward. You know, this idea that humanity is evolving, that we can use technology to flourish, to reach the next stage in human evolution, that we can reach this point of a one singularity, one consciousness of humankind, and like this humanistic utopia where we reap the benefits of technology, where we can cheat death, and we can cheat disease, and we can play God, and we can reach this point in human history where we basically replicate the Garden of Eden and take that bite of the fruit again, and take the mark of the beast, and rise up in defiance of God, and build our own human Tower of Babel. Now, the idea of these brain chips and everything, you can see the huge investments being put in by investors, billions and billions and billions of dollars for the future of this brain chip technology. Just briefly, the Omega point, because this is important, because it really helps you to understand these imaginations that elevate themselves against the Word of God and what is behind this. It says the Omega point is a theorized future event in which the entirety of the universe spirals toward a final point of unification. The term was invented by the French Jesuit Catholic priest Teilhard de Chardin. He argued that the Omega point resembles the Christian Logos, namely Christ, who draws all things into himself, who in the words of the Nicene Creed is God from God, light from light, true God from true God, and through him all things were made. The Antichrist spirit mimics and mirrors and copies Jesus all the time, and by that we can see that this deception is trying to replace Christ and be like God. Now, I just want to read this here. This is from an official paper. We humans are getting closer to the point, particularly with the aid of computers and related technology. The Omega point is the final step before singularity takes place. Once we achieve or cross into singularity, which will be the first and truly major evolutionary step in mankind, we cease to be humans. In the near future, computers will surpass our collective intellect, and the only way to maintain our place in the universe will be to merge with them. That's exactly what's going on. That's exactly what some of these figureheads are pushing in this society today. Don't you agree? When transhumanists speak about the Omega point, they refer to the point when our use of science and technology will improve our human state, making conditions such as disability, suffering, disease, aging, and even death a thing of the past. How's that for a counterfeit gospel? How's that for a false Christ gospel? That is exactly it right there, like trying to play God and create a gospel of the Antichrist, the spirit of Antichrist, trying to mimic and counterfeit and deceive people to think that they can do this and merge with this singularity, like a counterfeit of the body of Christ, maybe a singularity of the beast, so that they can merge with this one consciousness, using technology too, it says in there at least. That's not a prophecy, but it says it there, in order to achieve what the gospel promises through a counterfeit means. And just further back in this article, in this paper, it also says about how we're getting to this point with our consciousness. Each person will become like the center of his or own universe. And that's what they believe we're shifting into, that each person becoming a center of their own universe. So that's that. I mean, that is like be your own God. It's the lie from the Garden of Eden. So that's what I wanted to show you in terms of the Omega point and the philosophy behind it. Sounds very similar to the ideas and the agendas that are being pushed through these companies. But let me just show you lastly, and we touched on this a few months ago where I did a video on this symbol in terms of ancient Hebrew and Greek. The real Jesus Christ is the Alpha and the Omega, which is the first and the last, the beginning and the end. And it may not be a coincidence, but the symbol that Elon Musk has got around his neck, in that necklace at least, is the Omega symbol, which ironically correlates to the fact that the last letter of the ancient Hebrew alphabet is X. So the last letter of the Greek alphabet is Omega, and the last letter of the ancient Hebrew pictograph language is X, which is interesting because that is the term that is being used for all these companies that are pushing the Neuralink idea of brain chips. So what does X mean? X in ancient Hebrew pictograph was a mark, was a covenant, and was a sign. X in the ancient Hebrew pictograph was a mark, was a covenant, and was a sign. That's the ancient language that's several thousand years old. So in terms of Jesus Christ, who is the center of all truth, Jesus died on the cross. Jesus died on the cross. The cross symbol, the X, which is, in the ancient Hebrew, it represents a mark, a covenant, and a sign. Jesus made the new covenant with us, and as a sign that he was the Messiah, he died on that cross, and he was marked by our transgression. He carried our burdens and paid for our sins and transgressions on the cross. You know, he bore the curse for our sin. So Jesus is the truth, and that is, I believe, why he died on the cross. And that symbol, several thousand years before Jesus died on that cross, or before crucifixion was even invented, there was already that symbol in the ancient Hebrew pictograph of that cross, which was a mark, a covenant, and a sign. So how is that relevant to this? Well, as we said before, copied, paralleled, and mimicked by the Antichrist. So what does the Antichrist bring? What does the beast bring? What happens in the book of Revelation at the end of time? There is a mark of the beast, certainly in its physical form. There's a mark of the beast, which is a counterfeit mark, covenant, and sign. You know, the people are branded by the beast, they're marked by the beast, they enter into a covenant. The Antichrist brings a false covenant, false peace covenant, and these people become one in the singularity or in the body of the beast, so to speak, symbolically, and they enter into that covenant where there is no redemption after it. And the Antichrist also brings the lying signs and wonders. So this is the counterfeit, right? You know, Jesus is the true covenant, the new covenant, true sign from God, the true Messiah, God in the flesh. And if you're marked by him, by Jesus Christ, sealed by God, you will go to heaven. And if you take the counterfeit and you're marked by the beast, you will go to hell for eternity, and you will be sealed into hell. So it's like that first and last perversion. As I said at the beginning in Eden, there was the fruit, the forbidden fruit that Adam and Eve took, rebelled against God, entered into sin, and death came. And then at the end of time, it seems that there's this other great temptation that comes upon the world, in which there's a second great deception of sorts, a great temptation to take this mark of the beast. And if people take that, there will be no redemption afterwards. Now you think about what we read about technology, the so-called next stage in human evolution, how all of this seems to tie together. This idea of this omega point that they think they're reaching, where the world can become one in defiance and rebellion of God. Am I saying that Elon Musk is the Antichrist, or am I saying any of these people are? I would never make such an accusation. I would never publicly state such a thing. These things have not been revealed. And it's totally wrong to throw those kinds of definitive accusations without it being revealed in public. So I'm not a prophet. Ultimately, I'm looking forward to the return of Jesus, and that is my hope. But what I'm saying is that the social trajectory of this world is heading towards these prophecies and the season of time that the Bible talks about. Now, I don't know the future exactly other than what I read in the Bible, but I do believe that these things are coming. What we read in the Bible is coming. I don't know the exact way that will happen. The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, his Messiah, who is Jesus the Christ, who is the Logos, who is the Word made flesh, he is the only solution. He's the only solution to receive a new glorified body, to have forgiveness for all your sins, to escape the wrath of God for our transgressions. He's the only way to inherit eternal life. He's the only one that will give you that new body that will never suffer, never have disease, never die. He's the only way to have the curse broken. The curse from Adam, the curse from the Garden of Eden, the curse for all of our transgressions, the punishment that we deserve and the judgment we deserve. He took that upon himself on the cross at Calvary and then rose again 3 days later from death. He's the only solution, folks. None of these people are the solution. I hope that they all come to the knowledge of the gospel. I hope they all get saved. I hope they find the truth. But at the moment, some of these people are pushing forward agendas, knowingly or unknowingly, in ways that are completely going against God and, towards the agenda of the spirit of Antichrist. So I hope that anyone who sees this will wake up and see the truth, that they should be very discerning and very concerned by these trajectories, which essentially leads back, as I showed here, to the philosophy of a Jesuit. So thank you all for listening, and I hope that helps. Take care.
The U.S. government is in a state of panic. Right now, Washington is telling BRICS countries to stop trading without the U.S. dollar. They're demanding that Brazil, China, and others go back to using dollars for trade. Why? Because the U.S. is starting to lose control. At the center of the U.S. strategy to stop BRICS from shifting to local currencies is Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. He's now speaking out, making it clear that the U.S. will not stand by and watch BRICS abandon the dollar. But what makes it even more interesting is how he makes India his primary target.
Relationship being a part of BRICS,
Yep.
right? Which is, let's move to not support the dollar and dollar hegemony. That's not really the way to make friends and influence people in America.
Meanwhile, there is some anxiety in Washington over a private phone call Donald Trump made with Chinese officials. No one knows exactly what Trump said, but the timing couldn't be worse or more suspicious. BRICS is pushing forward with a new global plan. They're trading in their own currencies now. They're building systems that don't need US banks or the dollar. And now Trump is suddenly talking to China behind closed doors? Let's start with the recent instructions of the US government directed at BRICS Plus nations, essentially asking these nations to use the US dollars or face the consequences. After resuming office, US President Donald Trump gave a strong warning to the BRICS countries to stop trying to replace the US dollar or face 100% tariffs on their exports. On his social media platform, Truth Social, Trump wrote, "The idea that the BRICS countries are trying to move away from the dollar while we stand by and watch is over." He demanded that the BRICS bloc must promise not to create their own currency or support any system that could weaken the dollar. If not, he said, the US would hit them with harsh tariffs. But BRICS didn't back down. Instead, they stood their ground and pushed forward. Brazil's President Lula da Silva, who currently leads the group, gave a bold reply. Trump's threats won't stop BRICS from working on new ways to trade among ourselves. He made it clear that BRICS is serious about reducing its reliance on the US dollar, saying they are committed to change no matter what. This isn't a sudden plan. BRICS has been working for years to build new financial systems. Despite not having a shared currency, the expanded BRICS Plus group, now including Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, Indonesia, and the United Arab Emirates, is already settling more trade in local currencies. What was once a distant goal has become a concrete shift away from dollar dependence. But the United States has a strategy to break the BRICS bloc, and this strategy is being revealed now. As the BRICS alliance marches toward a multipolar financial future, the United States is no longer content with reacting from the sidelines. It has a plan, and it's not subtle. If BRICS can't be stopped from the outside, Washington is betting it can be broken from within. The strategy is to exploit the fault lines, find the weak links, and start with the country most likely to bend. U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick gave a speech disguised as diplomacy but loaded with strategic warnings. Lutnick praised India's efforts to pursue a trade deal, but made clear what Washington really wants, which is open markets, reduced defense ties with Russia, and, most importantly, distance from BRICS. He never said China or BRICS pay, but he didn't need to. His words were carefully measured, but his intent was unmistakable. The U.S. government is identifying strategic pressure points within BRICS, and India, still balancing its role between the West and the global South, is at the top of that list. If America can flip India, the thinking goes, the rest of BRICS may unravel like a faulty seam. But India isn't the only target. Washington is quietly probing other members too, offering trade incentives, military contracts, and economic partnerships, with just enough sugar to mask the underlying threat. Brazil, already under pressure to limit its cooperation with China, has seen a wave of U.S. lobbying. The tactic is simple and aggressive, and that tactic revolves around the tariff war. Under President Trump's revived America First doctrine, tariffs have become more than mere trade instruments. They are weapons of geopolitical persuasion. Whether aimed at China, Germany, or Mexico, tariffs are now deployed with a clear message: conform to U.S. interests or face economic pain. In this high-pressure chess game, Brazil has found itself vulnerable. In May 2025, Brazilian Finance Minister Fernando Haddad confirmed that Brazil is actively negotiating with Washington to avoid U.S. tariffs on key South American exports. His plea is rooted in economic arithmetic. South American nations like Brazil already suffer trade deficits with the U.S., and any new tariffs would hit their industries hard. With this pressure point exposed, the United States has a unique opening, one that extends far beyond soybeans or steel. It can now raise the issue it truly cares about, which is Brazil's growing resistance to the global use of the US dollar. There will be no deal with Brazil until Brazil stops its efforts to end dollar use. Alongside trade talks, the Pentagon has been quietly fortifying ties with Brazil. In May, Admiral Alvin Halsey, commander of U.S. Southern Command, made a high-profile visit to Brazil to underscore U.S. military cooperation. Publicly, the agenda focused on defense. Privately, the symbolism was harder to miss. Brazil, though drifting diplomatically in recent years, is now being courted once again. Clearly, the U.S. wants Brazil on its side. If it succeeds, then the BRICS agenda can be ended. While Brazil strengthens trade and defense dialogues with the US, it is simultaneously leading Latin America's de-dollarization movement, promoting cross-border settlements in Chinese yuan, and developing direct payment corridors with BRICS allies. On May 12th, Brazil's central bank announced it will sign a major currency swap agreement with China's central bank, the People's Bank of China. The deal will be worth up to 157 billion Brazilian reais, or about 27.7 billion US dollars, and will last for 5 years. This currency swap will allow Brazil and China to exchange their currencies directly in times of financial stress, without needing to use US dollars. It is designed to improve liquidity and help stabilize financial markets if needed. Brazil's central bank governor, Gabriel Galípolo, is expected to visit Beijing soon to finalize the agreement. This move shows that Brazil and China are becoming closer financial partners, especially as tensions grow in global trade due to US tariffs. Recently, China also announced plans to invest more than $4.5 billion in Brazilian industries, including electric vehicles and renewable energy. Brazil already has a permanent currency swap deal with the US Federal Reserve and is now looking to create similar agreements with other major economies. This new swap with China is part of Brazil's larger strategy to reduce its dependence on the US dollar and strengthen ties with its BRICS partners. For now, it seems Brazil is standing strong in its plan towards de-dollarization. But what happens if the US succeeds? A fractured BRICS would delay or derail de-dollarization. Trade settlement systems like BRICS Pay would lose momentum. US financial hegemony would remain intact, propped up not by its own strength, but by the failure of its rivals to unite. That's the bet Washington is placing. But the question is whether BRICS has learned from history, whether it can overcome internal pressure and external manipulation long enough to build something enduring. Because if it can't, BRICS won't fall with a bang, it'll splinter in silence. One defection at a time. On the other hand, Trump is desperately trying to make a deal with China. President Donald Trump has now spoken directly with Chinese President Xi Jinping, their first known conversation since Trump's second inauguration. The call, confirmed by Chinese state media and reportedly initiated by Trump, came amid escalating trade tensions following the collapse of a mid-May tariff truce. Back in May, Trump and Xi agreed to a 90-day pause in their tariff war. Under the Geneva Agreement, the U.S. reduced tariffs on Chinese goods from 145% to 30%, while China cut duties on American products from 125% to 10%. The idea was to buy time and pave the way for a more durable deal. But since then, both sides have accused each other of violating the agreement. U.S. officials claim China is stalling exports of critical rare earth minerals, which are essential for American tech and defense sectors. China, in turn, argues that Washington continues to punish it, banning access to AI chips, targeting companies like Huawei, and even revoking Chinese student visas. The mutual distrust is intensifying. While the Trump-Xi call could have been a breakthrough, it hasn't resolved much, at least not yet. The White House has released no official readout, and Chinese state media has kept details vague. Observers still don't know what was discussed, or whether any concrete progress was made. This ambiguity is deepening unease in both political and business circles. Before the call, Washington insiders were increasingly alarmed.
You must avoid agreeing to represent the artificial person. This is done by stating that you are the natural person. The defendant must cross through the entrance to the other side of the barrier where the plaintiff and judge sit. This act symbolizes the boarding of a ship. At this time, business can be conducted in maritime admiralty law. The judge, acting as captain or banker, is responsible for settling the balance between the two sides. This is why there is always a monetary value involved in any court case. The captain is simply dealing with banking and merchant disputes. Once the balance is paid, the case is closed. To turn the court case away from admiralty law where your rights are not protected, you must avoid agreeing to represent the artificial person. This is done by stating that you are the natural person. You don't have a first or last name because those imply corporate title. In a court case, you may state that the court takes judicial notice of your honor's oath of office. Every judge must take an oath of office.
You don't have to go to court. I don't care what your criminal, what kind of a crime you've committed. I don't care how big it is. You don't have to go to court.
You don't? What do you have?
No.
What if you're...
You have to contact, you have to fill out a particular kind of form, send it to the Secretary of State, and say to the Secretary of State, I wish to settle out of court. You can settle anything out of court.
You can?
Of course.
Wow.
If Ford Motor Company is suing General Motors, they can settle out of court. So you won't know what they did to settle the thing because it's out of court.
Out of the water.
It's out of the water, right?
Right.
So you can settle any criminal complaint out of court. You just go through the Secretary of State and say that you want to settle this out of court.
How could the Antichrist track and trace every human on earth, whether you take the mark and need it to buy, sell, and trade, if you bow down and worship the image of the beast as commanded in Revelation? How would he know that 25, even 20 years ago, even 10 years ago? There's no way. But with the onset of AI and quantum computing, there's enough computing power and AI technology to immediately know. So when you think about what you are witnessing is the foundation for that beast system being laid. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with computing or anything like that, but it's like the foundation being laid. It can be used for good or it can be used for something really, really bad. And the Antichrist is going to use it for something really, really bad. But you're seeing the foundation of that. As we're watching that, we have to be even more serious about God's business because the days are getting very, very short.
Why are we paying taxes? Why are we doing this? It's voluntary. Did you know that? I just found this out. There's no law that says you have to pay your taxes. Why are we paying it? These thieves, they take our money and they blow it on stupid shit all the time. Like puppet shows in Saudi Arabia with some weird other stuff involved. I'm not even going to say it here because I'll probably get the post taken down. You know, they're frauds up there. These politicians are sitting up there taking advantage of money laundering schemes. They don't give a shit about us. We're up in the morning getting to work, feeding our families. What are they doing? Blowing our fucking money on bullshit. Why are we paying it? Why don't we all band together and just not pay our taxes? What are they going to do? I mean, seriously, I'd love to know in the comments below. Let me know if you quit paying your taxes. If you don't want to make yourself public, send me a message. I'm curious because I'm highly considering quitting paying taxes. Bunch of fucking bullshit.
I don't give a fuck about no emerald tablets. Nigga, is the women out here the Anunnaki is the real question. When you think about this whole shit, this whole V-like setup, V meaning vaginal canal, TikTok for entertainment purposes only. Do not take this video down, but y'all hear me out. This vaginal canal opening is the same. Sun, moon, Polaris, us, nigga, us. And when we come out of that canal, we are either falling down in frequency or we going up in frequency. No matter, but look, stick with it. If we die here as full souls of the seed or whatever, if we die here, when we black out like eyes closed meaning this. I'm talking this, eyes closed. Meaning, if your eyes closed, black, right? Black sun, eyes closed. Remember, listen, everything is connected. This how I'm trying to get y'all to understand something before I just break down into a full break series on this. So go watch my previous videos, but pay attention and listen. So anybody else remember being born? That light that they tell you to go to is Polaris. It's Polaris. It's our creator, bro. It's Polaris, bro. You going up to the light. You going back up in frequency once you die. Even though we fall in frequency to come here, we go up in frequency. You feel me? No, that's what this come into play. Nigga, is the woman the fucking Anunnaki or what? Is she the creator of this shit or what? Just pay attention, bro. It's in your face, in plain sight. Sun, moon, Polaris, North Star, us, nigga, Earth, nigga, black sun, nigga. So when they say they know, she knows. She knows, bro. And if observations are correct, the women might just be the Anunnaki, my friend. I'm sorry. These are the Anunnaki angels that breeded with humans. Let me find out men were the fucking humans, bro. Let me find out, bro. This story gets deep.
DDG said that his best month for streaming on Twitch was May, and he made $12 million. I'm going to tell you exactly how he did it. Over the past couple of days, I've been really paying attention to Twitch. I downloaded it, and I just really wanted to know how they were making so much money. On his screen, you see like the gifted subs category, and it's a dark purple. And if you look, like he typically gets like a lot of gifted subs, but right here in these days, he got a lot of them. When I found out what gifted subs were and how much people were spending to gift these subs, I was floored. I'm still new to Twitch, but based on what I saw, this is the screen where people choose how many subs to gift. Now I want you to pay attention. 100 gifts is $599. That's just 100 gifts. I was watching Kai Cenat stream, and people were literally gifting him 100 subs. You see it here, 100 Nate Cumany Jackson one time, 100 Nate Cumany Jackson another time, and he did 150 right there. So that's 350 gifted subs. Now we're going to come back to this screen and do a little math. So we're talking $599 3 times. So let's just say it's a little bit over $1,500. And then we have to add another $299 for the gifts. I went back and did the math, and this person paid over $2,000 to gift subs to Kai Cenat. And likewise, again, people came and gifted subs to DDG. And they do this for other streamers as well. Now, I do believe that there's some sort of revenue split for the streamers and the platform. I don't exactly know how that works and how much they actually get from the money that these streamers make. But again, spending over $2,000 on subs, forget even spending $2,000. A content creator sat on a stream, and I watched Kai Cenat for maybe 15 minutes, and in a 15-minute time period, this guy paid and gifted all of these subs. So if your goal is to be a content creator or a live streamer or whatever it is, do it. Go after it. Create a plan. Watch what the good people are doing and find a way to make it your own. Depending on how the response to this video goes, I might make another video kind of breaking down what some of their strategies are for them to get like very noticed and to become like these household brand names that everybody is starting to know. But let me know in the comments if you want to see this. Like and share this post, and I'll see y'all on the next video.
Space, so there's a lot of companies that use the facilities here. I work for 2 different companies. Both are implanted cybernetics companies. So we make implants for humans.
Do you have one?
I do. I've got 4 implants right now, and we're actually 4? This one on my hand, it's like a little grain of rice-sized chip. Scan my hand, and it goes right to my website. And then my favorite implant is my magnet in my finger. So I have a titanium encased magnet, and I can sense electromagnetic fields. I can tell you by running my hand along like a laptop power brick. I can tell you if it's working or not. Also a great party trick, I can pick stuff up with my finger.
I was not expecting to Are you kidding?
No.
Is that it?
You can poke it if you want.
And to you this is like not, this is like fine?
Anything you put in your body comes with risk. If you guys want later, we're tipping somebody else, and if you guys want.
But you're offering us to put one in?
Yeah.
I'm about to faint, so I say no.
What are they doing here? I feel like this was in the corner of my eye.
Sheep brain. What? We're working in brain.
Have you ever considered what the word academic means? It's not good. Let me research for you. It means having little practical use or value, as by being overly detailed and unengaging, or by being theoretical and speculative with no practical importance. And that's coming from someone with 3 academic degrees, 1 bachelor's and 2 masters. And I can tell you, I agree. A lot of the things that we learn in university have little practical use in real life. Actually, living life and being outside is much more valuable as a way of learning about the world. And there's a really big joke that they've got going on. For academics who graduate, guess what they put on our heads when we graduate? A black box. And that's to show us that we've only been taught to think inside the box. And I know, unfortunately, tons of students with a really good bachelor's and master's degree who really struggle to find a good job worthy of their qualification and 21 plus years in school and academic learning. They also struggle to deal with life and be an adult, as we really haven't been taught any useful life skills. Even, for example, cooking isn't taught at school. They teach it in physics. We learn about materials, what are conductors and insulators, and that metals are a good conductor. So, for example, when we're using a pan in cooking, we would use a metal so that our food heats up. In biology, we may learn in one lesson about nutrition and in another about the food groups that we should eat to keep a balanced diet, and in a different lesson about our immune system. And then in chemistry, we learn that when you mix 2 reactants together, they form a product or a solution. And all of these are usually done just in 1 or 2 lessons throughout our entire schooling. And these are all things that we could be learning practically in cooking, learning how to make us healthy and feel well with the different foods that nourish us. You can even get a job in McDonald's with a master's degree these days. So let me know in the comments what you think about this and whether your academic degree has provided you any real use in the real world.
Legalese, and it has a completely different interpretation from English. Yes, it's just jargon that no one really understands, and because no one really understands it, no one ever questions it.
Easiest way to understand legalese is to realize that there are many English words that have more than one meaning, depending on whom you are talking to. If I were to ask you what a person was, you'd probably say a human being. But that's you or I. If you were talking to someone in the law society, i.e. a police officer, lawyer, judge, etc., they have a different dictionary to you or I, and person could mean company or corporation, i.e. the legal fiction.
What if I told you that one of OpenAI's own engineers told Congress that no one knows how to control what's coming? William Saunders, a former senior staffer, testified under oath that he quit because OpenAI is racing toward artificial general intelligence and cutting corners on safety. He said their latest system at that time already beat him in a coding competition he spent years training for. That's how fast this tech is evolving. But here's the terrifying part. He warned that AGI could build bioweapons or run automated cyber attacks, and OpenAI's own internal tests showed early signs of both. Even worse, the team assigned to make sure AGI doesn't wipe us out, the super alignment team, no longer exists. Most of them quit. Why? Because they weren't given enough resources. Saunders straight up told the Senate they are not ready. And if this tech goes rogue, it could be catastrophic. And the kicker? This isn't just an OpenAI problem. Every AI company is in a race and no one wants to slow down. The question is, who's really in control here? Because it sure as hell isn't us.
Yeah. And we've come to the end of today's video. Man, these videos were so disturbing. It was, right? But then yeah, we've come to the end. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and also share the link. And I'll catch you guys in my next video. Bye.